Brian Higgins has announced his decision to leave Congress after representing Western New York for almost 2 decades. The congressman made this decision today amid reports he is set to become Shays Performing Arts Center's next president. Higgins says he is leaving during a time of turmoil in the country's capital.
I didn't go to Washington 19 years ago to change the world. I went there to change my community.
Standing inside the Buffalo History Museum, Congressman Brian Higgins announced he will leave Congress in February. Alongside him were displays of his accomplishments over the years, including the New York Power Authority relicensing settlement, the fight for aviation safety following the crash of Flight 3407, and the transformation of Buffalo's waterfront.
For the first time in 40 years, the population of young Buffalo is increasing, not decreasing. The fastest growing neighborhood in Western New York is downtown Buffalo. Young people are coming back here. Our economy is diversified. That work must continue, but it will continue without me representing this community in Congress.
Higgins currently represents New York's 26th congressional district, which includes parts of both Erie and Niagara counties, and is 1 year into a 2-year term. He says he has been thinking about this decision to step away from Congress for some time, and that he believes it's in a bad place.
Moody's just downgraded American debt from stable to negative, citing the dysfunction of Congress and the dysfunction of Washington. And Congress is not the institution that I went to 19 years ago.
As for what he will do after he steps down, Higgins would not say. Sources have told News 4 it's a done deal. The congressman is set to become the next president of Shays Performing Arts Center. But as of today, he says he has not made any agreement with any person or place.
I'll be talking about, what my future plans are in the weeks to come. I'm still talking with people. People are reaching out about inquiries of availability as recently as this week. And so I have an obligation just to assess all of them before I make a final decision.
Higgins says there will be plenty of time between now and February for the parties to determine who could succeed him in office. He says it's a possibility he will endorse someone. But for now, Higgins says he is focused on closing out his time in Washington and making it a smooth transition.
This is all a work in progress. It's your life's work, and then it's turned over to somebody else to do. But there's plenty of great candidates that would make effective representation. I just think it's time for somebody else to try. And I think new energy, a new sense of purpose will be good for Buffalo and Western New York.
Now, many elected officials are reacting to Higgins' decision to leave Washington and commend him for the work he has done for Western New York. Governor Kathy Hochul tweeted, quote, "Brian Higgins defined what public service is all about. The projects he took on against all odds will be part of his legacy." In a statement, State Senator Tim Kennedy says Higgins' work will be remembered for what it was: strategic, innovative, and at its core, always focused on why we do what we do as public servants, to help people. Kennedy says he is grateful to the congressman for his years of guidance and friendship. State Senator Sean Ryan says, quote, "Congressman Brian Higgins has served the people of Buffalo and Western New York with distinction as a member of the Common Council, the State Assembly, and for nearly 2 decades as our representative in Congress," end quote. He adds that Higgins has always been at the forefront of progress. Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz says everywhere you look in Buffalo and Erie County, you will see the legacy of Brian Higgins, and that, quote, "If the goal of every elected official is to have left his or her community in better shape than when they leave public service, Congressman Brian Higgins has achieved that goal 1,000-fold." And lastly, Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown says Higgins has delivered exceptional results for the city and has helped shape the renaissance in our area, including his leadership on the waterfront. Brown adds, quote, "When the appropriate time comes, I look forward to a conversation about the future of this very diverse district." Now, because Brian Higgins is only halfway through his term, there will be a special election to fill his seat. According to Erie County Democratic Elections Commissioner Jeremy Zellner, once Higgins files a notice to vacate, the governor will call a special election certificate within 10 days. That election would then need to be scheduled within 80 days of that. Party leaders from Erie and Niagara counties nominate candidates to face off on the ballot.
So it's difficult, though, because folks just aren't used to that kind of a race. You know, it's not the fall, it could be dead of winter, so it's hard to get turnout for those things, and it's hard to get interest in them. So every vote counts, and anything could happen in a special election.
News 4 recently spoke with political analyst Ken Crewley, who says there are 3 people he has heard have interest in this seat: Tim Kennedy, Byron Brown, and Mark Poloncarz. He also says depending on who is nominated for the special election, it could trigger a political domino effect in Western New York.